Okay, so Leetcode practice time. In this video, there are two goals. The first goal is to see how to solve this problem, and then we are going to do some coding work. And the second goal is to see how we should behave in a real interview. So let's get started. So in a real interview, remember the first step is always try to understand the problem. If there is anything unclear, feel free to bring up the question, and at the same time think about some edge cases. So let's take a look at this question, the Palindromes of Strings. So given a string, your task is to count how many palindromatic, I don't know how to read this one, essentially how many palindrome substrings in this string. So the substrings with different start index or end index are counted as different substrings even they consist of same characters. So example 1, ABC returns 3 because there are 3 palindrome substrings A, B, and C. Similarly for example 2. Alright, so I think we are in good shape understanding the question. So let's see some constraints. So the input string length won't exceed 1000. So I think the first question in my mind is what should we return if the input string is empty? Should we return 1 or should we return 0? So since this question didn't give us the answer, I think this is a very good question to bring up in a real interview. But let's assume that for empty string we are just going to return 0. So the next step, after we understand the problem, is time for us to find the solution, to find out the idea how to solve this problem. So I think there are several ways to solve this problem. The first one is we could use dynamic programming to solve this problem, but I would say the idea is a bit more complex than another simpler solution, and also it has a runtime as the same. Also, for dynamic programming, it is going to waste a little bit space. So let me just introduce a simpler idea and with a good runtime. So we could essentially try each of the index and try to expand on both sides. So for example, let's say suppose we have the A, B, C, B, A. So we could extend so for this middle C, we could try to extend on both sides. So we could, first time we extend on the left side by 1, on the right side by 1. We say that BAB is another palindrome because this B is equal to this B. And the next time we try to extend further by 1 step, we see that the ABCBA is also another palindrome. So essentially we try to enumerate all the possibilities. So all the possibilities of the index we are going to try to extend, and that's how we are going to solve this problem. So the runtime is going to be all of n squared. N is the length of the string. So the next part is about coding. So for coding, we care about the code correctness and the readability, and also don't be too slow. So let's give it a try. So first of all, we will see the edge case. So if the string is an empty string, then we simply return 0. Otherwise, we will try to enumerate all the indices. So let's say I is equal to 0, I is smaller than the length, the plus I. So we will define another helper function here. So we will say private int count palindrome. Okay, so we have the string, we have SS, and we have the start index and the end index. So the reason we keep two indices is because so we have palindromes that could have even number of characters and we can have odd number of characters. So for example, if it is ABAAC, ABAABA, so we could try. So first of all, you could try to keep two characters, and then extend on both sides. Or we can do something like we introduced before. We can try to have the middle character, just one single character, and extend on both sides. So it really depends. So there are two cases for us to think about. So we will have int count as equal to 0. Let's say for this one is count plus equal to count palindrome starting from this is S. This would be, I would say, I and I. This is to count this is to count the odd number, the palindrome substring that have odd number of characters. And similarly, we are going to do the count for the even number of characters, but I and I plus 1. So the thing we need to do is, for here, it's a bit special. So we are only going to count if I plus 1 is not out of the range. So I would say if I is smaller is equal to s dot length plus minus 1, then it's time for us to just break this loop. Yep. And finally, just to return the count. So within this, we have the int count as 0. So if not if, so we should be like for no start, we don't need to initialize anything. We just say okay, start is larger or equal to 0, and n is smaller or equal to s dot is smaller than s dot length, and minus the start, and plus the end. So if s dot car at start is not equal to s dot car at end, then we are just simply going to break it here. Otherwise, we plus the count, and we finally return the count here. So after we are done with coding, it's time for us to do some testing. So usually you use some test cases, do some sanity check on top of the logic, and at the same time try to see if there's any bugs within the code and fix it. So let's use this example first. Let's use ABC as an example. So for ABC, it's not an edge case, so count is equal to 0. We try to enumerate all the possible indexes we could try to extend. So we are going to say when I is equal to 0, we are going to try to keep A as a middle character and extends on both sides, and also we try to have AB as a middle character and extends on both sides. I think it should be fine. Let's take an example to check the logic within count palindrome. So let's see if we have ABA. Let's say we have ABCBA. So if the start and end is the same C, what will happen? So if the start and end both pointing to 2, so we will have as the car at start is not equal to end, then we break. So this is not true. We just plus count, and we minus the start. This is a start here, and this is a end, and we see that it is equal again. Then we plus the count, and then we further extend the start, further extend the end, and plus plus count. So for this one, when start and end both are at pointing to 2, then we are going to return 3. So I think overall it should work. Let's give it a try by submitting this piece of code. Okay, so some typo here, line 38. Alright, so it's here. Yeah, so it's accepted. Now let's give it another try. So for the AAA case, alright, so I think it works fine. Let's give it a submission. Okay, so everything looks good. So the first time I return wrong answer, let me give you an idea what I did wrong before. So the first time I only consider like the palindrome character with odd number of characters, like have 3 characters for example. So I didn't consider the possibility that it has even number of characters. So that's what I did wrong first time. So hopefully you don't encounter the same mistakes when you're doing an interview. So that's it for this coding question. If you have any question about this puzzle or about the solution, feel free to leave some comments below. If you like this video, please help subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.